The rain hammered the tin roof like 1,000 tiny accusations, each drop echoing the thud of my heartbeat as I bolted upright on Elias's lumpy couch. My tuxedo shirt twisted around me like a noose. My phone buzzed violently on the coffee table. 20 missed calls from Sarah, my fiancée of 3 years. Her last text screaming in all caps, "Finn, where the hell are you? The limo's here. We're getting married today." But I wasn't there, in the bridal suite of that overpriced Bellevue hotel, surrounded by her sorority sisters and my oblivious family. I was here, in this forgotten corner of Seattle, drowning in the scent of Elias's faded cologne and the ghosts of what we'd buried a decade ago. I stumbled to the window, peering through the streaked glass at the pre-dawn gloom, my reflection a stranger, dark circles under hazel eyes, jaw shadowed with regret. How had I ended up here, hours from vows I'd rehearsed 1,000 times, crashing on the couch of the one guy who'd ever made my chest ache like this? It started with a stupid high school reunion invite, the kind you ignore until fate or desperation drags you back. 10 years ago, in the fluorescent-lit halls of Roosevelt High, Elias was the quiet storm everyone orbited but no one touched. Tall, with that mop of chestnut hair that fell just so over his forehead, and eyes like the Puget Sound on a foggy morning. Deep, unreadable, pulling you in until you forgot how to breathe. I was Finn Harper, star quarterback, homecoming king in waiting, the golden boy with a cheerleader on his arm and a scholarship to UW burning a hole in my pocket. We weren't friends, not really. He was the artsy kid sketching in the back of AP Lit, the one who volunteered at the local LGBTQ center while I pretended the rumors about my confused glances in the locker room were just locker room bullshit. Our paths crossed senior year during a group project on Kerouac, him waxing poetic about the open road, me fumbling through notes I'd half-assed. One late night in the library, as the janitor's keys jingled down the hall, he looked up from his notebook and said, "You ever feel like you're driving someone else's car, Finn? Like the wheels slick with their sweat, and you're just along for the crash?" His voice was soft, laced with that wry Seattle sarcasm, but his gaze pinned me. I laughed it off, cracked a joke about my dad's old Ford, but inside, something cracked open. A fissure I sealed with denial and another kegger that weekend. We graduated, drifted. I threw myself into college football, then a safe job in tech sales. Met Sarah at a networking mixer, blonde, ambitious, the kind of girl who made my mom beam and my buddies slap my back. She was steady, like the rain that never quits here. We built a life in a cozy Queen and apartment, talked kids and mortgages over IPA flights at Gasworks Park. But lately, the fissure widened. I catch myself staring at baristas with sharp jawlines or scrolling old Facebook photos of Elias, now a graphic designer in Capitol Hill, single, unapologetically out, wondering if that what if was just nostalgia or a grenade I'd been ignoring. The reunion was last month, at some dive bar in Fremont, fairy lights strung over sticky tables, air thick with weed and wistful chatter. I went alone. Sarah was closing a deal in Portland, telling myself it was closure, a quick beer with ghosts. But there he was, leaning against the jukebox, nursing a whiskey neat, looking like time had burnished him. Broader shoulders, a faint scar on his chin from who knows what adventure, laugh lines that made him seem wiser, not worn. "Finn Harper," he drawled, that same half-smile curling his lips. "Still slinging code? Or did you finally run off to chase beatnik dreams?" We talked for hours, about the Mariner's Eternal Choke, his exhibit at the Fry Art Museum, my picture-perfect engagement. The whiskey loosened tongues. I confessed the doubts creeping in, how Sarah's wedding Pinterest boards felt like a script I hadn't auditioned for. Elias listened, really listened, his knee brushing mine under the table in a way that sent sparks up my spine. "You deserve a road that's yours, Finn," he said finally, voice low. "Not borrowed." When the bar emptied, he offered his couch, just for old time's sake. And I said yes, because why not? It was innocent, a detour. But detours have a way of unraveling you. That night, we stayed up till the ferries honked on the sound, trading stories like contraband. He told me about coming out at 17, the fistfight with his stepdad that left him crashing on friends' floors, the first boyfriend who ghosted him after Pride. "It hollows you out," Elias admitted, staring at his hands. "But then you fill it with people who see you, really see you." I nodded, throat tight, and spilled my own secrets. The crushes I'd buried under touchdowns and tailgates, the therapy sessions I'd skipped because it'll pass, By 3 a.m., the air hummed with unspoken gravity. His hand found mine on the couch, thumb tracing my knuckles, and for the first time, I didn't pull away. It wasn't a kiss. Not yet. Just a tether, fragile as spider silk, pulling me toward the truth I'd evaded. Morning came too soon, sunlight slicing through the blinds like judgment. Sarah's texts piled up. Babe, you okay? Call me. I ghosted her, drove home in a daze, chalked it up to booze and sentiment. But the fissure became a chasm. Wedding week hit like a freight train. Rehearsal dinner at her parents' sprawling Bellevue estate, where her dad clapped my shoulder and said, "You're getting a good one, son." While I smiled through gritted teeth, tasting ash. Elias's number burned in my phone. I texted once, casual, "Coffee sometime?" And he replied instantly, "Anytime. Doors open." The night before the wedding, it broke. Rehearsal ran long, Sarah radiant in her silk gown, practicing her walk down the aisle lined with white roses and our beaming families. But as the officiant droned about eternal commitment, my mind replayed Elias's words, his touch. Panic clawed up my throat. I faked a migraine, slipped out for air, ended up at a payphone outside the venue. God, who even has those? Dialing his number with shaking fingers. "I can't do it," I gasped when he picked up, voice raw. "Elias, I think I'm in love with you, or always was. Fuck, I don't know." Silence stretched, then his exhale steady as an anchor. "Come over. We'll figure it out." I did. Drove through the glittering sprawl of I-5, past the Space Needle's mocking glow, straight to his bungalow in Wallingford. A sagging porch piled with sketch pads, wind chimes tinkling like wind-up toys. He pulled me inside. No questions. Just a hug that smelled of pine and possibility. We talked till the words ran dry, then sat in the dim lamplight, his head on my shoulder, my fingers in his hair. "This doesn't have to end the world," he murmured. "But it might break a few hearts. Yours included." Exhaustion claimed us on the couch, fully clothed, tangled in a platonic spoon that felt like salvation. Now, as the clock ticked toward 7, the wedding hour looming like a guillotine, reality crashed back. My phone lit up again. Mom this time. "Finn? Sweetie, everyone's worried. The car's leaving soon." Betrayal twisted in my gut. Not just to Sarah, who'd built dreams on my half-truths, but to myself, for waiting this long. I was the villain here, the groom who bailed, the coward who'd let love curdle into obligation. Elias stirred behind me, his arms slung over my waist, breath warm on my neck. "Finn," he mumbled, voice thick with sleep. I turned, our faces inches apart, his eyes fluttering open. Vulnerable, hopeful, terrified. "I have to go," I whispered, but the words lied. The rain outside intensified, drumming a frantic rhythm, mirroring the war in my chest. Go and seal the fissure forever, marry the life scripted for straight, successful Finn Harper. Stay and shatter it all, for a chance at something raw, real, maybe even redemptive. His hand tightened on my hip, a silent plea. "You don't," he said softly. "Not if it kills you inside." The dam broke then, tears hot on my cheeks as I pulled him closer, foreheads touching, breaths mingling in the charged space between us. "I loved you back then," I confessed, voice cracking. "In the library, every game, every goddamn night I told myself it was nothing. And now, God, Elias, now it's everything." He cupped my face, thumb brushing a tear, his own eyes glistening. "Then don't go. Be the guy who chooses himself. Chooses us." We kissed then, slow, tentative, like testing thin ice over deep water. It wasn't fireworks or frenzy. It was a quiet unraveling, lips soft and seeking, years of unspoken longing pouring out in salt and sighs. When we broke apart, the world hadn't ended. It just felt possible again, fragile but free. I texted Sarah the truth, brutal. "Bear, I'm sorry. I can't. There's someone else." It was always him. Her reply was a storm of hurt, accusations flying like shrapnel. "How could you? After everything?" My family would disown the scandal. Friends would whisper. The guest list of 150 would scatter like confetti in reverse. Betrayal's price was steep, a lifetime of apologies I'd never fully pay. But as Elias and I stood on his porch, watching the rain wash the streets clean, I felt the weight lift, just a little. Seattle stretched before us. Gritty, green, unforgivingly beautiful. A city of second chances for those brave enough to claim them. He laced his fingers through mine, squeezing. "What now?" he asked, voice steady despite the tremor. "Now," I said, pulling him into the downpour, our clothes soaking through as we laughed through the ache. We drive. My road, our crash. The wedding bells tolled faintly from the chapel miles away, a dirge for the life I'd left behind. But here, drenched and defiant, with Elias's hand in mine, I chose the open highway, the one that scared me most, but felt like home. In America, they say you can reinvent yourself 1,000 times over. Turns out all it takes is one honest dawn to start.